And it was a taxing summer day, and Jeff Sailors, the newly appointed foreman of a 15,000-acre buffalo ranch in eastern Colorado, had finally retired to bed sometime after midnight. The day had been spent fencing along the eastern pastures, followed by household tasks he'd been putting off for weeks. His dinner, eaten late, didn't bother him. He relished the solitude and beauty of the land, even if it came at the cost of exhaustion. The stillness of the rural night wrapped around the house as Jeff drifted off, the only sound being the rustling curtains in the soft breeze. But his rest was abruptly shattered just minutes later by an earth-shaking noise, blaring rock music so loud that the windows and walls trembled as if caught in a quake. He knew the song immediately. Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song, the opening riff thundering through the night air like a concert unfolding in his front yard. Disoriented, Jeff stumbled from his bed and rushed downstairs. The only audio equipment he owned was a small kitchen radio, incapable of producing anything near that volume. The television was off. The source had to be outside. Expecting to confront someone blaring music from their vehicle, he flung the front door open. But the music stopped the instant the door swung out. Silence. Total, complete silence. The yard lay empty. No headlights, no people, just the whisper of prairie winds. He checked his own truck. Nothing. The barn, tool sheds, outbuildings, also nothing. After half an hour of fruitless searching, Jeff returned to bed deeply unsettled. How could such a thunderous sound come from nowhere? But he would soon learn that at this ranch, logic had no place. Jeff Sailors had always lived close to nature. Born in Colorado, he grew up fishing alongside his grandfather. He hunted, hiked, and eventually moved north to Montana at 18, chasing work and wilderness. For decades, he traversed the backcountry from New Mexico to the Canadian border on horseback. Enduring lightning strikes, buffalo charges, and even bear attacks, he'd been on movie sets, taught traditional horse hitching, and carved out a peaceful life with his partner Patricia running an art gallery in Idaho. But none of those experiences prepared him for what he encountered during his 9 years managing the Buffalo Ranch. From the very beginning, locals had whispered about oddities, rumors of mutilated cattle, strange lights, and ghostly noises. Jeff didn't give them much weight until those rumors began playing out on his doorstep. That a few months into his new role, Jeff's girlfriend Patricia was staying the night. They had just turned in when a furious wind suddenly slammed against the house. It sounded like a freight train. Walls shuddered, beams groaned, and picture frames crashed to the floor. Believing a tornado was bearing down, Jeff pulled Patricia into the nearest closet. But then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the chaos stopped. Total stillness. Jeff stepped outside to find a perfectly clear sky. Stars twinkled overhead. No rain, no wind, not a single cloud. That he shook off the experience as bizarre but unexplained. Until the next morning, at sunrise, Jeff walked the yard. The 4-acre enclosure around the house usually bore the tracks of buffalo and the occasional vehicle. But this time, he found something extraordinary. The entire yard, 400 feet in diameter, was spotless, scoured clean, as though nothing had touched it in years. No buffalo tracks, no dog prints, not even his own boot marks. Outside the auto gates, he found Patricia's tire tracks from the night before, confirming someone had entered. But inside the circle, it was as if the land had been erased. From that day on, Jeff took the stories seriously. Over the coming months, the oddities grew. Some nights, rock music would erupt in the dark, then vanish just as quickly. Other times, it was the exotic calls of tropical birds echoing from the darkness, utterly unnatural for the region. Then one morning, Jeff descended to his kitchen and was struck speechless. The entire contents of his fridge had been laid out, carefully and symmetrically, into a perfect 6-foot triangle on the kitchen floor. His 2 dogs, who would normally bark at any intruder a mile away, hadn't made a sound. Now, they refused to even step into the kitchen. Jeff had to carry them out through the living room to reach the front door. Outside, no tracks, no broken windows, nothing disturbed, except his understanding of reality. From then on, the triangle appeared again and again. One morning, silverware was arranged in triangular patterns at his front door and every outbuilding. Another day, the ranch manager, who lived over a mile away, called to report that every light in his house had turned on simultaneously in the night. The same triangle arrangements appeared on his property 2.2 months after moving in. Jeff discovered the mutilated corpse of a male buffalo not far from the house. At first, he assumed predators or people were behind it, maybe angry locals or competitors. But the details defied explanation. The dead buffaloes always appeared in spring and summer, never winter. Female carcasses displayed elliptical incisions on their abdomens, one side clean and surgical, the other ragged and burned. Internal organs were missing, but there was no blood. Pregnant cows always had their unborn calves removed and placed gently on top of the mother's body. Male buffalo were even more baffling. Their penises, each roughly 3 feet long and sheathed in skin, were always removed, but the sheath left perfectly intact. Somehow, something had reached inside and severed the organ cleanly, without disturbing the sheath. It was anatomically impossible with any known tool or technique that in every instance. A glowing orange triangle was found marked somewhere on the animal's body. Over the 9 years Jeff managed the ranch, this happened to 20 to 30 buffalo every year. It cost tens of thousands of dollars. But more than that, it left everyone who witnessed it shaken to their core. Eventually, the local sheriff, Wally, began taking a personal interest in the case. A well-respected man, Wally visited often to investigate the mutilations and lights. He even helped patrol the land at night. One evening, Jeff got a call on the radio. Wally and a ride-along deputy were entering the ranch to scout for the strange orbs. Jeff gave the go-ahead and watched from his porch as their headlights bobbed through the dark terrain. An hour later, panic exploded over the radio. Wally screamed, "I'm surrounded. I'm getting the hell out of here." Then, silence. Jeff rushed out, rifle in hand. After several tense minutes, he saw the Jeep cresting a distant ridge, racing toward the ranch. As it drew closer, Jeff saw something he would never forget. 6. Glowing green orbs floated behind the vehicle, arranged in a wide semicircle. Wally was leaning out of both drivers' side windows, firing pistols in both directions, while the passenger crouched on the floor in terror. As they neared the gate, the orbs vanished, 2 by 2, until the Jeep was alone again. Without a word, Wally drove past Jeff and didn't stop. 5 days later, he quit his job. As the mutilations continued, the ranch drew attention from the federal government. Several agents, claiming to be from various departments, visited the property. One group stayed for days, coordinating with aircraft circling overhead. They were tight-lipped, but one younger agent let slip that they knew more than they were letting on. He left the ranch that same day and was never seen again. Later, 2 men arrived claiming to be from a Michigan university, working on behalf of a federal agency. They wanted to examine one of the buffalo carcasses. Jeff took them to a ravine where he disposed of the remains. The scientists were stunned. The injuries were beyond anything they'd seen, and the carcasses, some years old, were mummified but untouched by scavengers. Jeff, a seasoned hunter, had never seen blowflies or vultures. Avoid dead meat. Something was deeply wrong. A month after their visit, one of the scientists contacted Jeff with unsettling news. The blood in the samples had crystallized and become toxic, consistent with an animal dying from sheer terror and overexertion. Something had run the buffalo to death before killing them. Even more alarming was the hemoglobin around the incision sites. It had been heated to over 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit. Only lasers could reach that temperature, and only military-grade systems had that capability, but no one had ever seen or heard such machinery on the property. Not a single track, no tire marks, nothing. It was as if the mutilations and the mutilators simply appeared and vanished with no trace.